Let's continue to the next part, sensitive content. Don't forget the disclaimer. I am not a legal advisor. I am not a professional legal advisor. So if you want to believe this information, the information in this video, please take it with a grain of salt and consult your own legal professional. I'm not giving any professional assurance in this context. In fact, probably I would be, I would be planning on making like I would not implement anticipations against making mistakes. I'm going to be bravely making mistakes in order to get to the truth. Okay, like attenuating in a finding radio frequency, something like that. Okay, guys. So there's going to be probably mistakes in this video. Let's go. Sensitive content. We hope to protect viewers, creators, and especially minors. That's why we've got rules around keeping children safe, sex and nudity, and self-harm. Learn what's allowed on YouTube and what to do if you see content that doesn't follow this policy. Nudity and sexual content policies. Alright, there's a video in this, and there's a gray area that I know of that in YouTube. Like some famous guy in YouTube have already talked about this before, about some yoga content, some type of yoga content, and that is an interesting gray area to explore. Let's watch this video from YouTube.
True or false? Nudity is never allowed on YouTube. What do you think? The answer is false. While sexually explicit content like pornography isn't allowed, we actually allow nudity when the primary purpose is educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic. And if there's no nudity, but minimal clothing meant only to be sexually provocative, it'll likely be age-restricted. Let's take a look at other examples. A creator uploads a video about the greatest works of art in history, which contains nude artwork. In another video, a creator uploads a compilation of hacked photos and clips that contain nude celebrities. Do either of these videos violate our community guidelines? Yes.
My bad. Let's start again.
True or false? Nudity is never allowed on YouTube. What do you think? The answer is false. While sexually explicit content like pornography isn't allowed, we actually allow nudity when the primary purpose is educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic. And if there's no nudity, but minimal clothing meant only to be sexually provocative, it'll likely be age-restricted. Let's take a look at other examples. A creator uploads a video about the greatest works of art in history, which contains nude artwork. In another video, a creator uploads a compilation of hacked photos and clips that contain nude celebrities. Do either of these videos violate our community guidelines? Yes. The second video violates the sex and nudity policy because the content and purpose of the video is meant to be sexually gratifying. Of course, there are gray areas and lots more to our policy around sex and nudity on YouTube. How much of it do you understand? For example, what if you just made a playlist of clips of celebrity wardrobe accidents? Could your channel get a strike? To learn the answer and more, go to the YouTube Help Center article on sex and nudity. Click here or the link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Okay, guys. So sorry about that. I repeat the video again. So in order to make it up, let me show you my air disinfectant that has already expired. That hasn't been used. That's already empty. Okay. All right. Next. Algorithm. All right. They even the explanation is a little bit. Not definitive. So since it's recommended to read this, let's read on. On September 7, 2022, we updated our nudity and sexual content policy to more consistently enforce our community guidelines. You can learn more about these changes on our forum. This policy has been updated with these changes. All right, some people actually come to YouTube to find like just to be honest, some people might like those kind of content, right? And that could be an attraction. Um, but somehow, somehow, people on YouTube decided to say that sexual gratification is a bad thing. Well, look, it's overgeneralization. I think that's where the mistake lies. You shouldn't be saying that sexual gratification is something that you don't want. It is something that is, so that is that opens up too much gray areas. And I think what's bad about making content that sexually gratifying? I mean, I am I am I currently are not making those kinds of videos, and I have no plans on doing that. But I don't see if people do something like that. Um, I don't see how it is actually unfair or unjust. And if people, and I guess by age restricting it, it is already enough. But why would you say that it is violating? Like there's a line, I think the line is clearer when it comes to nudity and pornography, right? It's a sexual intercourse or nudity, okay? But sexy stuff with clothes on, just age restricted. I don't see any other way. I just see that the problem is in the sexual gratification refusal, or the, yeah, like you trying to say that sexual gratification is something that is banned. That is where the problem is, in my opinion. The safety, uh, okay, but I really could be wrong. Explicit content meant to be sexually gratifying is not allowed on YouTube. Posting pornography may result in content removal or channel termination. Videos containing fetish content will be removed or age restricted. In most cases, violent, graphic, or humiliating fetishes are not allowed on YouTube. If you find content that violates this policy, report it. Instructions for reporting violations of our community guidelines are available here. If you found a few videos or comments that you would like to report, you can report the channel. Sexually explicit content featuring minors and content that sexually exploits minors is not allowed on YouTube. We report content containing child sexual abuse imagery to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who work with global law enforcement agencies. Again, guys, the lines are actually clear. The problem, in my opinion, is this line at the very beginning. Explicit content meant to be sexually gratifying is not allowed on YouTube. If you just lose this part, right, and just ban like all of the other things that you said or you already said here, I don't think that is not okay. But that is just my personal opinion. Next, what this policy means for you. If you're posting content, explicit content that violates this policy could result in channel termination. This policy applies to real-world, dramatized, illustrated, and animated content, including sex scenes, video games, and music. Oh my god. Don't post content on YouTube if it shows the depiction of clothed or unclothed genitals, breasts, or buttocks that are meant for sexual gratification. Pornography, the depiction of sexual acts or fetishes that are meant for sexual gratification. Other types of content that violate this policy. Masturbation. So this is a sexual activity, an intercourse activity, masturbation with yourself, right? So that if if it is an explicit act of masturbation, you can ban it. So the line is still like clear. Fondling or groping of genitals, breasts, or buttocks. This is a crime. Okay, this is a sexual assault. Or if it's not, if it's consensual, if it's consensual though, it's explicit. It's very explicit. Yes, it is very explicit. But the reason why it is shocking is when usually, I'm sorry, I'm kind of demonstrating my experience here. Huh. Okay, guys, but for the sake of justice, guys, for the sake of justice here, okay, here it goes. When it's sexually assaulting, when it is a crime, okay, when it is not a crime, it could be put on its own category. That's that is personally my opinion. Next, using sex toys to give viewers sexual gratification. That is an intercourse again. Like that is an act of um, straight up intercourse. Okay, but if you're just like it's teasing. Okay, but if you if you pass the line, oh, my God, why am I so experienced on this? I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be. My bad. Next, nudity or partial. No. I mean by I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be doing that in front of this video. Okay. I'm sorry. Next, nudity or partial nudity that's meant for sexual gratification, bestiality or promotion of bestiality, incest or promotion of incest, non-consensual sex acts or unwanted sexualization. Unwanted is a crime. Like it's an assault. It's a okay. Celebrity wardrobe accidents or nude photo leaks. Violent, graphic, or humiliating fetish, like the act of humiliation or NTR or something like that. It could be, if it falls under a crime, then it shouldn't be allowed. But if it's not a crime, then like it is so shocking. It is a graphic. It is a graphic scenes that not everybody wants. But if it were to be put on a separate category, right? I, um. Okay, now I see why sexual gratification is actually banned, because of the shocking part. And okay, when it's kind of yes, intense, right? Because it's intense, it leaves a mark in people's mind, right? But it is right. The again, this is how I feel, right? The the problem is with the intensity. The problem is with the. It's not in the sexual gratification. The problem is in the uniqueness, or in the extremity of the display. So it's more like a shocking act, or too much out of the norm, something that falls under the definition of unusualness, and unusually, what do you call it, unusually disturbing. Okay, unusually disturbing. It falls under the category of disturbing views. But I do believe there are those that are sexually gratifying that is not really disturbing. It is something that you can see on the street, for example. Like I'm not talking about when people walk on the street and there's some creep like making videos out of them and following them. That is disturbing, and that is an act of offensive unpleasantness. I'm not talking about that. But like if you live every day and you walk every day in the public, and sometimes there are sexy things going on. It's just it's just something sexy going on, and just move on with your life, right? It is not disturbing, I would say. In some parts of the world, it could leave a mark that is unusual to the norm of that place. But I think, guys, it is not about promoting your own values, prioritizing over other people's values. It is just about being real. It is just about, oh, this is actually something that people consider to be casual. And if you think it is not casual, don't be aggressive about it. I think it is an education of something that is harmless. To not put in a category something that is harmless into something that is potential, into something that is dangerous, and actually take responsibility of your own self to not act unjustly. Yes, to self-control. Just because somebody else shows you something that is something that you find to be unusual, it doesn't legitimize you to do something that is unjust, right? And the fact that it is an everyday thing in other people's lives is a good information. It is real. It is what's happening in the world. And why are you censoring that? That is not fair. That could permeate into reality, and in fact it's already happening. We shouldn't let these customs from a place that arguably is actually not fair, implementing laws that is not fair, just because you are a huge internet organization or internet corporations. You would, your policy would permeate into a lifestyle of a society that is already figured it out, and you bring it back again into a time where they haven't figured it out artificially. That is so bad. That is such an unfortunate, that is unnecessarily unfortunate thing. But the fact that the inclination is costly, has power, is, I don't know what word to say. That is so, first, that is so emotionally triggering. Okay, next, non-consensual sex or unwanted sexualization, celebrity wardrobe accidents, violent, graphic, or humiliating fetish content where the purpose is sexual gratification, aggregating content that is meant for sexual gratification. Right, as I said before about in my previous video, if it's blue, you aggregate all blue, but apparently all of the blue are turquoise, then it's about the turquoise. It's about turquoise. It's not just about the blue. But there's a gray area, of course, in every case. And as a human being, we could make our own judgment. Sometimes it's controversial, and that's why negotiation is very important. Negotiation is very important in a social life. Next, any sexual content involving minors, see our child safety on YouTube page for more information. Age restricted content. We may age restrict content if it includes nudity or other sexual content but doesn't depict anything described above. We consider the following when deciding whether to age restrict or remove content: whether clothed or unclothed breasts, buttocks, or genitals are the focal point of the video, whether the subject is depicted in a pose that is intended to sexually arouse the viewer. Whether the language used in the video is graphic or lewd. Okay, so unclothing is, you can say that it is nudity, and you can specifically ban nudity. I personally agree. Like, some people say no, but it's nudity for sexual gratification it's too not casual. It's too not casual. It kind of defeats the purpose. If you want to be a site that is not for that, right? Yes, I think yes. You want to put it on somewhere else. I think it is in line with the theme. I'm just saying. Whether the subject's actions in the video invite sexual activities such as by kissing, provocative dancing, or fondling. Whether the clothing would be generally unacceptable in public context such as lingerie. Whether sexual imagery But here's the deal, right? In YouTube, if you got like a more private, what do you say, a context, you could have that. You could have, like, for example, people doing makeups when they had no makeup. That is a little bit private, right? Why you ban the image of bikini or lingerie over. Okay, but nudity is a different category, but lingerie probably is not a different category. Next, whether sexual imagery or audio has been blurred, masked, or obscured. Whether sexual imagery or audio is fleeting or prolonged in the content. Alright, whether the content invites others to participate in a challenge involving sexual acts. Okay, the above list isn't complete. This policy applies to videos, video descriptions, comments, live streams, audio, and any other YouTube product or feature. Remember, these are just some examples, and don't post content if you think it might violate this policy. Educational content. We may allow nudity when the primary purpose is educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic, and it isn't gratuitous. For example, a documentary on breast cancer would be appropriate, but posting clips out of context to sexually gratify from the same documentary is not. Out of context documentary is out of context nudity in indigenous communities during medical procedures, during childbirth, during artistic performances, or during breastfeeding may not meet our documentary exception. The same applies to depictions of sex scenes in artistic content such as films, audio, stories, music, or video games. Remembering that giving context in the content, title, and description will help us and your viewers determine the primary purpose of the video. For educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic content that has adult material or graphic violence, we may take into account official third-party ratings to decide whether the content may remain on YouTube. Content that follows our policies but isn't appropriate for all audiences is age-restricted. Age-restricted content isn't viewable to anyone who is under 18 years of age or sign out. I think if you have a category that says sexual activity or sexy, okay, just sexy, or no, sexy is not enough. What do you call it? Especially for sexual purposes, sexually gratuitous. If you have like that category, sexually gratuitous, no, because I'm thinking about the groping part. Yes, that is. I think that's where the problem is, right? Next, examples. Here are some examples of content that is not allowed on YouTube. Clips extracted from non-pornographic films, shows, or other content in order to isolate sexual content, real world or artistic. Groping, pantsing, kissing, public masturbation, upskirting, voyeurism, predatory exhibitionism, or any other content that depicts someone in a sexualized manner without their consent. But that is a crime. Okay, that is a crime. But you know, like consensual activities with each other, I think that is too much somehow. But categorically speaking, it would fall under the things that are okay. That is weird. That is weird for me. I don't know how to make that up. Content that depicts sexual acts, behaviors, or sex toys that is meant for sexual gratification. The above are just some examples. If you think content might violate this policy, don't post it. More examples. Playlists that aggregate content containing nudity or sexual themes for the purpose of sexual gratification. Provocative dancing that is focused on the dancer's genitals, buttocks, or breasts, or that includes fondling or groping. Again, that is not allowed. It is not allowed. Content that sexualizes rape in any form, or content that aggregates clips of dramatized rape scenes. Okay, guys. Okay, I think at this point, rape is bad. It's a crime. I think what we're going to talk about is actually like staged rape activities. Yes, it again that thing is, I don't know how to make of it. Audio or textual depiction of sexual acts for the purpose of sexual gratification, content showing bodily fluids or excretion such as urine for the purpose of sexual gratification, content using otherwise everyday objects or scenarios such as injections or eating for the purpose of sexual gratification, video game content which has been developed or modified or modded for sexual gratification or focuses on themes of unwanted sexualization. I think another helpful thing here is that the theme of YouTube is not porn. Okay, this is not a porn site. So when contents become pornographic or kind of pulling the theme of the pulling the context of the application into porn or into that kind, that is unwanted, and that is where you draw the line. However, again, what I say, some people in wearing everyday clothes in some parts of the world, um, they are trying to show off their sexiness, right? And things like that is just like everyday life. They meant to be sexy. It is meant to be sexy, but it shouldn't be something that is considered, um, especially for sexual, something that is rejected by YouTube. Okay, I personally think that is a part of everyday life for a lot of people, and it is just something that you like a little bit of everything. Have you ever heard of 50 Cent's song? The reality is we have a little bit of everything, and we shouldn't remove something that is actually an ingredient to something that is normal. Okay, what happens if content violates this policy? If your content violates this policy, we'll remove the content and send you an email to let you know. If this is your first time violating our community guidelines, you'll likely get a warning with no penalty to your channel. If it's not, we may issue a strike against your channel. If you get 3 strikes within 90 days, your channel will be terminated. You can learn more about our strike system here. We may terminate your channel or account for repeated violation of the community guidelines or terms of service. We may also terminate your channel or account after a single case of severe abuse, or when the channel is dedicated to a policy violation. You can learn more about the channel or account terminations here. If your content contains pornography, we may terminate your channel. Was this helpful? Oh yes. Alright guys, so thank you very much for watching this video. I will continue it in a different video. And again, I want to talk more about this because YouTube has this regional feature that can tell where you are. So if you'll have like a regional ban of certain types of content, I think you can do it, right? Okay, thank you guys, goodbye.